Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Cedric with AstrologyKingdom.com and welcome to your weekly astrological update. We're going to talk about the week of April 9th through the 15th. So, the very beginning of the week, at the 9th, we have Mercury going retrograde, which is never anybody's favorite time. And during the last retrograde, I had all kinds of electronics break. I had to spend all kinds of money on replacing equipment, but it ultimately led to a greater outcome of having a better method and better quality of video to put out for you guys through these YouTube videos as well as through the private readings. So Mercury retrograde can bring some difficult times, but they're always for a good reason. Those difficulties always lead you towards something better. Kind of causes us to backtrack and look at things in a different light and take a different approach, and that's there's no difference here this time around. It seems like this one's going to be a little less harsh than maybe some of the past ones, but at least the last Mercury retrograde was particularly difficult. This one seems like it's kind of focused more around the idea of delays more so than anything, I believe. Let's see here. As far as this retrograde goes, I mean, it's really not too incredibly complex as far as where the aspects applying to it are. We've only got Saturn here, but Saturn is also in retrograde, and this is a positive aspect between the two of them, a positive angle, I should say. Aspects are angles between the planets. And this is really just saying that there's going to be maybe some delays, but also, and on a deeper level, there's going to be a theme of having to go back and re-examine certain things in your life, your routines, your daily activities, the types of things that you put a lot of time and effort into, your long-term projects. Not necessarily the projects themselves, but maybe the way that you go about handling them. There's going to be some revamping of certain things going on, maybe some experimenting with certain ideas that you came up with in the past, but never fully implemented or never fully put into play. There's going to be a lot of revisiting old ideas, and any new ideas or new directions you try to take are going to be faced with a lot of delays and may end up not really sticking because there's no permanence there as far as Saturn is concerned, and then with Mercury in retrograde, there's details that are missed as well. So definitely not a good time for starting any new projects of any kind. It's much more focused around going back and looking at things that you may have started in the past but maybe never finished. So let's see here. It seems the main theme of everything right now has to do with slow growth, especially with Mars at least, slow growth yielding huge long-term results. With Mars conjunct Ceres in Taurus, slow and steady not only wins the race, but also provides an environment where future races can be won as well. So this week's a little less about accomplishment as much as it is about learning to take smaller bites out of our projects and life over a consistent period of time so that one doesn't completely burn themselves out. Like I said, this concept of slow and steady being far more effective than just, powering through things and burning out. Working 1 hour a day is better than working 5 hours one day, if that makes sense. If you have a goal or something that you work on that you've been putting off or that you have trouble getting started on, you have trouble building that momentum towards actually getting on the projects and the goals that you have in mind. If there's a problem with that, just remember that it's a lot easier to take smaller bites. So if you try to tell yourself, well, I have 5 hours of work, so on Saturday I'm going to do 5 hours straight of work. Well, in real life that hardly ever happens. We very rarely get 5 hours of free time to actually work on something. And even if we do, it's more likely that the thing that you need to do will get put off as long as possible because the pressure of this idea of a 5-hour chunk of work or whatever it is you're doing, it's too much for your ego, your mind to handle. So it kind of puts it off and puts it off and puts it off and tries to distract itself. So instead, tell yourself, well, maybe I'll just do 1 hour each day. Or maybe tell yourself, say perhaps if you're an artist and you have trouble getting started on your art, this is something I can definitely relate to. If you have trouble getting started on your own artwork, then maybe instead just tell yourself, okay, I'm just going to draw one line every day. I'm going to draw something every day, no matter what it is. It could just be a dot. It could be a line. It could be whatever. Or it could be a full picture. But the only goal there is to put put the pencil to the paper, or put the paint to the canvas, or whatever it is you do, and just make that mark. And more often than not, you end up finding out that now that that pressure is gone, you start feeling more creative and you start really digging into whatever you're doing. So if you can apply that to other concepts like work or really anything else in your life, just take smaller bites and take that pressure off of your mind, because usually you end up doing a lot more than just that one little bit that you tell yourself you're going to do. Hopefully that makes sense. So Saturn goes into retrograde. So boundaries and limitations are really going to be tested. Any boundaries that you have not previously addressed that maybe need to be addressed you're going to see consequences in your life of this lack of boundary in whatever area you need to build those boundaries. And there could be a desire to reset some certain boundaries in your life. Ideas about relationships especially will be tested, and lines that have been solidly drawn in the sand will certainly be crossed. So even if you do have boundaries set, when it comes to the love life, there's still chances that there's going to be some challenges there. People are going to push you a little bit and see how you react, I think. Independence in love, sexuality, and life in general are going to be strong themes over the next few months. This is where you learn what lines you are willing to cross and what lines you are not willing to cross, and when it comes to what lines you're willing to let others cross in your life. If both partners are not willing to explore new and sometimes scary territories together by crossing those boundaries and pushing those boundaries in different directions, you may find that the relationship doesn't have the momentum it needs to carry on. Mercury, like I said, is in retrograde, so still requiring a lot of patience. It's really a good time to study and return to subjects that maybe large subjects that maybe you studied in the past that interest you. Going back to those things and taking some time to really dig through the details could be really beneficial to you. There's still time to really just learn, read, and experiment with methods of one's own ability to perceive and function in life in general. Just there's different ways of growing right now, and it's just this is a good time for like the kind of like self-help kind of books and that kind of stuff. Whatever, just real strong internal kind of work. And then Chiron here, the good old asteroid Chiron, bringing old relationship wounds to the surface. There's been strong themes of exes trying to get back together for the past couple of months now. And if there's a question as to whether you're going to actually fix the relationship and move on, or if you're going to, or move on with that person, or if you're going to move on in a different direction, that question will likely be answered at some point in this week. And then, just real quick, talking a little bit about some of the generational stuff that's going on, or not really, the generational planets, I should say, as far as Uranus, Pluto, Neptune. Over the next few years, Pluto's really going to be bringing out some of the darker stuff in the political realm. We've already seen a lot of negative things being exposed there, and I think we should expect to see a lot more of that. Pluto's position suggests we only have the first half of what is to be revealed has been revealed. Like, there's still a lot more under the surface that we haven't even touched yet, as far as the political realm goes. And it's going to be a tough and ugly process, but once Pluto leaves Capricorn, we'll see this. We'll finally see that beginning of that new age that everybody's been talking about for so long. It is coming. It's just a slower going process than people want it to be. And I think we're going to see that mostly when Pluto leaves Capricorn and moves into Aquarius. And then there'll be different challenges, but it won't be quite so much focused around political things and corporate ideas and money and all this. So that's a pretty general overview of what's going on this week. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the website, astrologykingdom.com, and follow us on Instagram. Again, thanks for watching, and take care.